Tito always says I'm using my mouth to get my opportunities. The only person I know that made money using their mouth is his ex-wife.
The bad guy from Wesleyan, Oregon returns this Saturday night on your screens. And welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode
Oh my lord.
98. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Robert Palin.
We're like 10 seconds in and we already have a blowjob joke.
Chael is back. The funny story is we're opening, we're like, what are we opening this week? I'm like, it's got to be Chael Sonnen. And I'm flicking through funny Chael Sonnen things and I play that and Rob's like, oh, you're not going to use that one, are you? I'm like, of course I'm going to use that one. Shout out to our sponsors, Fight Star Ireland, MMA Mix, and to feelsupreme.co.uk. This is a packed show with a lot of fight recaps, looking ahead at a lot of fights coming up.
We're going to talk about fights.
We're going to talk about fighting.
It's in the name.
Obviously. Later on we'll be looking ahead to UFC 220. We're going to be on with Brendan Dorman. We're mainly going to cover the main and the co-main and briefly skate through the rest of it. Brendan's such an expert in breakdowns that we want to get Brendan's opinion. We're going to then recap as well Stevens and Choi this weekend. Incredible
last weekend
fight card. The weekend just passed.
Yeah,
that went on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Yesterday versus Monday. We're going to look at Bellator 192 as well. We're going to start where we used to start, now where we always start. We're going to look at your Obviously Fight Talk Quick-Fire news. But before we do that, subscribe.
Yeah.
Hit, like, you know what? We're doing this now. We're nearly up on 100.
Yeah.
And we never plug iTunes. So we're on iTunes and we're on Android and we're on all the formats to listen to as well. Go on to Android. If you really like the show, we'd really appreciate it if you went on to iTunes and just hit the old 5 stars there and go, the lads are sound. Noel's a bit of an idiot. Rob's a dreamboat. Nice one. And leave the review. It really helps the show and it helps us
give
grow.
it a share around. Yeah, give it a share around.
On Twitter.
Believe it or not,
Facebook,
with this amazing production value, 2 people.
Yeah.
We do it.
This is it. We
So
do
yeah,
it.
so it's really appreciate if give it a share, give it a like, give it a subscribe and a review or something like that.
And now we'll move on,
platforms.
so we don't want to just threaten you constantly with please share the show.
We'll come to your house if you don't do
Please
it.
share the show. But yeah, let's get delved in and get into your Obviously Fight Talk Quick-Fire news. 2 minutes on the clock. Al Alaquinta versus Paul Felder is in the books, and it's scheduled to be in the books, and it's rebooked for UFC 223. The lightweight bout first scheduled for UFC 218, but Alaquinta forced to withdraw due to injury. So Rob, do we like this one?
Excellent fight. I was very, very disappointed when it didn't happen at first. 2 really good guys. I'm really excited to see Alaquinta back. His last performance was great, albeit it was against Diego Sanchez, who I think everybody would agree that he's kind of, at the end of his career at the moment. Still a great performance, and he's a guy who's beat so many good guys that we kind of forget about him. He's been out for so long due to injury.
And selling houses
and complaining about the UFC, but I honestly think he's got more popular with that time off just because of the stuff that's happened on the MMA Hour. It's weird. He's kind of just dropped into the MMA Hour every couple of weeks and went crazy at Dana White or whoever. And I think he's become more popular due to that. But he's an excellent fighter. And Paul Felder, look at his last fight and look at the run he's on. And he's doing excellent work in the commentary booth as well.
Like, when you look back at Reginald's last few opponents, like he knocked out Diego Sanchez, he had a split decision win over Masvidal, he knocked out Joe Lozon, he knocked out Ross Pearson. He's knocking out big names, and it is inactivity. When we go back to the Ross Pearson fight, that was 2014, so he's away a while. And then when you look at Paul Felder and damn elbows in his last couple of fights as well, this is a great fight. It's a pity. This is something that you spoke about before, Rob, when a fight was meant to happen previously and then it comes about and it happens again, that it adds more spice to the sauce. Because I think Felder's on a better run now. Obviously nothing has happened with Alaquinta, but Felder's on a better run now. So I think you're right there. Yeah, I think it's a better fight now. I think it makes more sense in a way. And as well, like Alaquinta, he's, as you said, he's very outspoken, but when he gets in there, he's absolutely amazing. And again, you're going to hear the beautiful sounds of Ray Longo and Matt Serra in his corner,
of course.
But it's a great fight. And who would you give to yours? If you had to pick now, who's your slide to pick for you?
Oh, it's tough. Paul Felder for activity.
Yeah, I'd be the same.
Yeah.
But again, like the last time out, Alaquinta showed that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I'll go next. Dana White told the media following UFC Fight Night 124 that Ferguson versus Nurmagomedov is in the works due to McGregor potentially not fighting until December or September. That's what he told Dana White. He has also said that Conor McGregor will be stripped if this is the case.
Ding,
ding, ding.
Tony Ferguson posted a picture of himself with his belt saying real champions defend their belts or something like that on Twitter. Everything in a higher case to start each letter. A lot of effort. And then, of course, Khabib was saying big news, and then it was rumoured that UFC is going to Moscow. So all adding up, what was the date that they were saying for Moscow? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't remember it exactly, but there was also a report from some Russian sports journalist that said the fight is on. Again, that's unconfirmed. That's not. Don't.
Heard it here first.
But
then, of course, all this week and last week, apart from Funderland, you had pictures of Conor was back in SBG, both in SBG with Paddy Hoolan in Dublin 24, and he was back in Concord as well. So you can see Conor is back in there and looking ripped doing it as well, by the way. So that's, I have to say, out of everything, that surprised me that McGregor September, that it was so far away. Now maybe Conor has said, right, look, I dedicated so much of my time to boxing that he feels he needs that extended time to come back to MMA. From all, of course, everything I heard, the rumour mill and what word on the street and all that, I thought that March was really going to be the return for Conor. If he waits till September, if he's told him he is coming back, are they right to strip him?
I think so. I think it's been too long.
But Joe Rogan said on the Joe Rogan podcast that he was saying it doesn't fucking matter really if they strip Conor, because when Conor comes back, it's still going to be the biggest ticket anyway. It doesn't matter if he has the gold.
And a lot of people will say he's the real champ, as it happens not just because it's Conor, just because it's that's the same.
Fucked up about it is if they do strip him, you're not going to see Conor McGregor defend the belt still.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, if from what Dana White said, if that's the case, I don't disagree with it. I think that makes sense. If he says he's not coming back till September, it's been a hell of a lot of time. And Ferguson's been fighting, and if them two fight, I think it's the right move. But it doesn't really affect Conor that much. Obviously, he's going to want to keep the belt.
And Ferguson, Khabib, great fight, by the way.
Oh, great fight.
Quickly, Woodley on Joe Rogan's podcast as well, where they talked about Khabib and he was talking about moving up to 170. Woodley was like, stay in your division, boy. Just keep destroying them. And he meant it as in, don't come up here because you're an animal. You don't belong in this weight class.
Crazy.
Jimmy Smith, in officially probably the worst kept secret or thought, especially after, again, Joe Rogan's podcast with Jimmy on it, is now an official member of the UFC broadcast team. I think we spoke about this a little bit before, but do we like the move? Is it common sense? Is it terrible move by Bellator and just illogical? Almost like when a footballer falls out with his team and an easy marketable, you could say, like, what's going on right now with Arsenal? They've allowed players down to their contract and the bigger clubs are sniping them up for little or nothing. So how have Bellator dropped the ball here with Jimmy Smith?
Yeah, I think they have, because Jimmy Smith has always been one of my favourite commentators. He's not like Joe Rogan. He's completely different. He's completely different the way he commentates. He does the same job in theory. He's a colour commentator, but just completely different styles. I love the move. I think he fits in brilliantly. I think a lot of people were saying, I'm not sure if he fits in with the UFC's style. The UFC, if they don't have Joe Rogan, they have a former fighter. But Jimmy Smith is a former fighter. And people forget about that. And he knows what he's talking about. He's highly intelligent. If you watch his recent appearances on the Joe Rogan podcast or our podcast, he's been on twice, you'll see how intelligent he is. And you see the passion that he shows. It's similar to Rogan.
That's what I think. I either tweeted or Facebook, I can't remember, and I was like, Jimmy Smith is a fountain of knowledge of MMA, but he's also incredibly passionate about the sport. And you know what
he doesn't have, which is kind of rare for a colour commentator, and I haven't found him, and people can correct me if they have found him, he doesn't have isms. He doesn't have like Joe Rogan isms where you kind of know he's like, he better throw some leg kicks, or Goldie where he has his little catchphrase. For me, Jimmy Smith,
just like that.
He doesn't really have those, which is a good. It's not, it's not a bad thing that other guys have them. But I love the move. I think it's a brilliant move. I'm gonna give us a bit more time. Let me see how long we have here. How long have we gone? We're nearly 2 minutes, but give us a bit more time to talk about the Bellator one, because Big John McCarthy moving over, and in a way, it's almost like with Jimmy Smith going that way. Everyone's like, oh, he must be replacing Rogan. It's going to be very different, but I think Big John is going to bring something different,
brilliant, a completely different dimension to broadcasting and commentary. Like you got to remember, Big John McCarthy was in the cage when it was the first UFC, and there was very little to bare minimum rules, and he was one of the guys that like basically started the rules. Like, he was there for the writing. Like, he was there when Moses writing down the commandments and on the tablets, and do you know what I mean? He was there. He was at the foundation of mixed martial arts, laying out the groundwork. So to have somebody with his experience, I definitely don't think they thought, oh, John's going to do this, we'll let Jimmy Smith go. That's definitely, I just think, I'm actually surprised that if this was known that Big John wanted to come on, that the UFC sort of didn't pick up on it and get him on.
Apparently, it was really late, according to a lot of the reports, and according to what John McCarthy said to, I think it was Luke Thomas on his show. He only heard really late. I think it was after Jimmy Smith left, or at least after they didn't agree with Jimmy Smith, he went in for an audition. So it wasn't something that was.
I just think
planned.
like his voice in itself and just his experience. And what would be great about it is, like, it's one thing here. Dan hasn't been on with us in a while, Referee's Corner.
Yeah.
But it'll be one thing that basically Bellator are going to have Referee's Corner live. Be like, did he stop that too quick? Now, it'd be interesting when something like that happens. Will Big John McCarthy be still wearing his referee's hat and be like team referee?
Well, I know John McCarthy done this before. He commentated, I think, I can't remember. He commentated for somebody.
Lion fighting.
I can't remember. I can't remember where it was. I think it was a Canadian network or something. I think it was Fight Network or something like that, where you went there and he was actually critical of not just, I don't think it was referees, it was more so promotions and stuff, and that's how he got in hot water with the commissions and stuff like that.
Excellent,
but I like the move. It doesn't mean he's going to be a great commentator, but I think he has he has something different there.
He has a good charisma, and you see him when he's talking to the fighters backstage, and I think he'll come across excellent.
Luke Rockhold versus Yoel Romero will headline UFC 221, which takes place in Perth on the 10th of February for the UFC's interim middleweight title after Robert Whittaker was forced to pull out of the fight with Rockhold due to injury.
And ladies and gentlemen, we now have a new interim belt. Only 15 days into January. It didn't take long for it to be drawn up. But look, it's a weird one. Like, again, why couldn't they just make this for the winner gets Whittaker when he comes back?
Because it's a headlining fight. They need to throw a title in there.
Big disappointment with Robert Whittaker. What a dream fight that was for him to fight
Brilliant.
in Perth.
Unfortunate for him.
You know, to be defending. He was crowned the undisputed middleweight champion after GSP vacated. So for him, what an opportunity to fight in Perth, his home country, to defend the UFC gold. Incredible. Unfortunately, injuries happen in this sport, but for me, I don't like the whole interim thing here. I don't think there's a need for it here.
No,
because
no need for it.
He's just won. Whittaker had just won his interim belt, got crowned the undisputed champion. When was Bisping? November, December.
Yeah.
So we're not even like 2 months without a champion. So it's. They throw it around too much. But Yoel Romero, Luke Rockhold is a great fight nonetheless.
It has been since July 8th, 2017 that he won the middleweight title, Robert Whittaker. Now, he was awarded it later. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like the right time. I understand why they're doing it. I genuinely don't think it matters that much. I don't know if a UFC title really adds a lot of pay-per-view buys to a pay-per-view. Maybe it does. I don't know if I've seen much proof of that. I just think it's a great fight. I like the fight. I do like the fight.
That's the thing.
I really like it.
For me, what's weird about it is calling it an interim almost makes you go,
it a little bit. Yeah, it soils it a little bit. Yeah, big time. I don't know. It's a weird... Like, Yoel Romero was the guy who lost that title fight to Robert Whittaker. Yeah. And now he's getting another interim title fight. Yeah. I don't like that. But I like the fight.
Jesus.
It kind of soiled it, but
it is an excellent fight. I think it's an incredibly difficult fight for Luke Rockhold ahead of him, Yoel Romero. It'll be interesting to see how Yoel looks after coming off that defeat to Robert Whittaker. But cracker. There have been rumours that Michael Bisping versus Vitor Belfort will headline UFC London in March. Bisping, however, shot down the rumours, stating he wants nothing to do with Belfort. Do we think this fight makes sense, and do we think it happens? I'll start for a minute because Bisping took a terrible gamble. It's terrible in hindsight, and got knocked out against Gastelum. That might have been a swan song. Bisping wants this as his goodbye, I think, the long goodbye.
Yeah.
Vitor was meant to have his long goodbye at the weekend, so in a way, it makes sense that way. Yeah. The fight. Bisping obviously has a lot of hatred towards Belfort for, you know, testing positive and all that type of thing. And, you know, that's gone back and forth. But in a way, it is a fight that makes sense. Realistically, both of them are looking to have, like, it's almost perfect for the UFC as well, because it's matchmaking without thinking, because you don't have to worry about what's next for the winner or what's next for the loser, because they're both saying bye-bye. So
I think it makes perfect sense.
I honestly think, in a way, you know, as much as Biz being saying that could be adding fuel to the actual fight, because if Belfort comes back with, well, you know, it'd be an easy fight for me anyway, because you're being finished twice in the last couple of weeks. That could make Biz Bing bite back, and it could be the start of the fight happening on social media, and that's, as we know, where a lot of fights are made now, is on social media. So in a way, Biz Bing saying, no, I've no interest in being anything to do with Belfort, that's probably the start of the fight being made. And like I said, it makes perfect sense for the UFC and both fighters, because it's the last time we're going to see both of them. Yeah,
it's hard to get into somebody's head. It's hard to get into Michael Bisping's head and say, is he being facetious, I suppose the word, is he just saying it to promote the fight or the potential fight? It's hard to say that, but from a promotional standpoint, I think it makes all the sense in the world. What other fight are you going to do? There's no really other fights really there for Michael Bisping. He's coming off a couple of losses. It's going to be his last fight, according to him.
Like, this is what I mean. If it, like, Bisping, like the Gastelum fight, he's coming up against an up-and-comer. So does Bisping want that on his going-out fight, that he's being fed to another young lion? Now, he wasn't fed to Gastelum, you know what I mean? Like, when you think about it, it's crazy to think that, like, 4 months ago, Michael Bisping was the UFC middleweight champion.
Yeah, it's crazy. It makes sense to me. Yeah. It makes sense to me. I think we have one more. We do.
Dana White wants, go on.
Dana White wants welterweight champion Tyron Woodley to fight Rafael dos Anjos next. Quote, as soon as he's healthy, Woodley, obviously, RDA is the fight to make, especially the way he looked in the Robbie Lawler fight.
This is, you got to agree with that again. It's almost like the world makes sense, and this makes sense. Like, Woodley is pining for the GSP fight, and he that's what he wanted. He wanted the whole super fight, and it's the money fight, and that's a phrase that has really come into MMA, and deservedly so for a lot of these fighters. But for me, RDA is deserving of it. Like, it was quite weird when I look even back, like when we were breaking down the Robbie Lawler fight. I was there going, this is going to be the real water test for RDA. Can he stay in this division? Can he stay there with the bigger hitters, the bigger guys that are more experienced in the weight class? And RDA showed. He looked fantastic. I know Lawler got injured during the fight, but you know, RDA was winning the fight right up until that point as well. So, you know, realistically, Wonderboy is probably there. Darren Till, all up and comers. Usman, that we'll talk about a little later as well, you know. But so, like, this is the fight. RDA is 3-0 in the division, and it makes sense. Like, Woodley, he's being dismissive, but he's a former champion as well at lightweight, so why shouldn't RDA get his crack at the whip?
Yeah, I think it makes sense, and I think it's somewhat of a big fight. I don't think RDA is a huge draw, but his name is kind of associated with Conor. He's been the lightweight champion. I think it's one of the bigger fights that Woodley could have, apart from if Till gets a couple of wins and his star continues to rise the way it is. But I think it makes sense, depending on when Woodley is back.
I wonder what the time frame is.
The time frame seems a bit long. Like, when I was listening to his interview with Joe Rogan on his podcast, it seemed like he was like angling at maybe like 6 months or something.
So what do you do there if you're RDA? Do you take a fight?
That's the weird one. I don't think the RDA really needs to take a fight. It's not like he's a young guy who needs to stay active, you know. I'm sure resting his body is going to be always a good thing for him. And he's experienced enough to know how to train outside of a fight camp. So I think it makes sense all around as well. Again, just makes sense.
I think it's a good fight for, like, I do think it's a good fight for Woodley as well, because Woodley, you could argue a couple of his last fights, he hasn't had the dance partner, clash of styles just didn't work, and he wasn't able to showcase a lot of what he can do. And I think RDA would be an exciting fight.
Yeah, I think it's a good fight.
Yeah, I just think it could be fireworks, and it could be the fight that draws Woodley out and could make him a bit more endearing to the crowd. I like Woodley. I think Woodley game plan's brilliant. Like, as in Greg Jackson and Wink, their gym is credited with great game plans all the time, and Tyron Woodley does it, and all of a sudden it's a bad thing. Yeah, you know.
I think we should talk some fights. The fights that went down the weekend.
I have no interest in talking about the fights that went down the weekend, Robert. You can stick that there. So yeah, but UFC Fight Night 124 went down. Stevens versus Choi. For us here in Ireland, if you're watching us, this is Monday when we're recording, and we seen the fights. Jesus. They were late. We were in work in the morning. I watched them on my work PC. I was working.
I watched the main event on the bus on the way to work.
Dublin bus Wi-Fi leading the way. But yeah, I was sat on work and the little bottom of my screen, of 2 screens, and the little bottom where my boss couldn't see it. I just had the fights on as I was working away. So fantastic. But let's open up where the main card opened. Got bumped up due to injuries throughout, and it was Darren Elkins taking on Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, the hometown boy, the hometown favourite. Bit disappointed at first that he was on the undercard and where his placement in the card was. But Darren Elkins,
man,
round 2, rear naked choke.
I love
after a round of getting the pulp beat out of him.
I love the nickname he has, the Damage, and I'm pretty sure it's about him taking damage in fights. But he could be the comeback kid as well, because it's unbelievable how many fights he comes back in. It's absolutely unbelievable how many fights he comes back in. It's also unbelievable how many fights he goes in the underdog and wins. He's on a serious streak now. This guy is as tough as nails. Michael Johnson, I thought, looked really good in the first round. Sure, we were talking about earlier on, you said he was overextended on shots. He was. That's just Michael Johnson. He does that all the time. But I thought, when I was watching the first round, and I was watching that in work as well, so I was kind of watching it and then stopping it between rounds. So after the first round, I stopped it, and I said to you, well, Michael Johnson, looks like this weight cut looks okay for him. Looks like the change of weight classes worked wonders. And then the second round, I'm not sure what happened. I think just Elkins pressured him. He threw a kick and got caught.
Like a ball kick.
And once he got to the floor, we've seen it a couple of times with Michael Johnson. He's a wrestler, and he almost has that horrible wrestling trait of just hates being on his back.
He sort of tries to stand up and just put his hands on
he tries
Elkins.
to be and the transition from Elkins to take the back was beautiful. Sunk in the choke, and what I thought was not funny from a Michael Johnson perspective, but what I thought was kind of funny was that Paul Felder was like, "Oh, Michael Johnson's really, really good on the ground too. It's going to be hard to tap." It's over.
The old commentator's curse, I believe that's called.
I thought Michael Johnson really didn't do the right techniques to get out of that choke, and again, who am I to say it to Michael Johnson, a professional fighter, but didn't fight any hands. Didn't do the right things to get out of the choke. The choke went in. He tried to push his chin down and tried to push up, which again that can work, but he really should have fought hands here. And
how do you feel about the tap as well? What do you think of the?
What do you mean?
I was talking to a fella today, and he was like, "If it was in my hometown, I would have went to sleep."
Nah, I don't care. It's a tap. He knew he was gone.
Yeah, checkmate position. Yeah. I'm gonna say something, Robin. It might whatever. I don't really rate. It's easy to say at this stage, but I've never really rated Michael Johnson at that high level. Now, I picked Johnson in this fight because I just thought he'd have too much for Elkins in this one. But when you look at Johnson's career, I just think he had a purple patch where he sort of beat lows on Tebow and Melvin Gillard and Edson Barboza. When you look at that Edson Barboza win, now you go, holy fuck, geez, that's some win. But I honestly think that was almost like a purple patch in his career.
I think because
he went on to drop 2, beat Poirier, and now he's dropped 3. And I don't know, his striking, he's always overextended. He doesn't seem to have that knockout power. And if you look at the Dustin Poirier knockout, Dustin Poirier sort of momentum goes into the shot as well. So it was I don't know, I always think he looks sloppy and out of position when he's finishing and striking.
Yeah.
And Elkins, beat up Darren Elkins at your own peril. Yeah. If he's the type of guy that you're almost better going off and just point scoring and beating him and going, I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, you really are.
Because he just comes out in the second round. Johnson went for the kick. Full groin shot, by the way.
Yeah.
You could hear the cup smack.
Yeah.
And he knew he was in position. He's like, no, I'm comfortable. I'm happy where I am here. And I do agree with you, Rob. I think for the level that you're looking at, I just think Michael Johnson gave up his back position too easy in that. For example, if that was Conor McGregor and that's how the fight went, people would be shitting all over McGregor's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it just, again, I know that's a bit of a weird...
And as well, Elkins is good. Elkins is a good grappler, but the steps that Michael Johnson took was just completely wrong when you're trying to defend the choke. Yeah. Just completely wrong. And that's wrong on a white belt level. Immediately he should have been fighting hands.
When I watched the first round, right, I like you sitting here and work, I watched the first round and thought, good round by Johnson. Yeah. But he didn't do anything to earn the respect of Elkins. And that's a bit... I know Elkins got hurt a few times, but you even look at it. At one stage, Elkins gets wobbled and he sort of goes, right, come on. And he calls him on again. And it's almost like Johnson's... he is good. Like in a way, he is good combination where he goes bap bap bap. But they're not lasting, damaging, where the fighter's not going to come at you. And if you can't keep Darren Elkins away from you or off you, that's what he'll do. And I think a lot of credit has to go to Elkins again. Like, incredible second round to come out after the first round. You could argue, I think you could argue a 10-8 round, possibly not. I would score a 10-9 to Johnson. But I don't know what's next for Michael Johnson. No, I sort of said this away when we were talking about his position in his card. I think he thinks he's a little more ahead than where he actually is.
Maybe.
And I don't mean to discourage or speak down, but I've never highly rated Michael Johnson in the fight.
He's very up and down.
In a way, as soon as I went to the mat, I thought, he's fucked here.
Yeah.
And Elkins got it and synced it in. I wasn't surprised by the outcome. Kamaru Usman was interesting post-fight after, actually, Rob. Got the victory, a unanimous decision over Emil Meek here, where it was almost like a throwback, you could say, to the wrestling versus striker. He knew what he had to do to win the fight. He took him down. Meek's unpredictable sort of strikes. At one stage, he almost landed a spinning back fist. Sort of caught Usman. But Usman done what he had to do, looked well doing what he had to do. Probably not the most exciting fight in the world. But afterwards, Cameron Usman said that he was only at about 30%. He was ill leading up to it and wasn't right. Mika sort of said he took a gamble taking the fight and it didn't pay off, but he doesn't mind that. But were you impressed with Usman? The whole boogeyman of the division, is it right? Is he a nightmare for the higher ups?
I think I was impressed with the performance. I don't see how, like, I know Dana White came out and said it wasn't that impressive. Yeah. It was impressive. He beat a guy who's a tough guy and has shown to have, okay takedown defense, but really, really good at getting back to his feet and hits hard. And he done what he had to do. I think it was a good performance. I don't think his performance really proved that he's the boogeyman in the division. I'm not sure that people would be looking at him saying, I'm afraid to fight that guy. I don't think he kind of showed that, but I was impressed with the performance, and I was impressed with Meek to stay in there. But it was a workmanlike performance, if anything.
Got the job done.
It was one of those.
In fairness, he never looked in danger throughout the fight. Like, it was a solid unanimous decision. Yeah. And if he was, as he said, that low down in percentage wise, I know it's hard to put it. Like, that's even more impressive. Jessica Rose Clark, who had a nightmare week, her house was broken into and they gave her cat a boot and the cat had to be put down. Coming into it, not something you want. She said they took about $30,000 worth of stuff out of her house while she's away. So not a good start for her. And when I seen that, it was quite weird because I picked Paige Van Zandt in this one. But when I seen that, I thought, she's going to fuck Paige up here. You know what I mean? Going to use that anger. But a solid performance by Rose Clark. Won the fight again very convincingly. Worth noting that Paige Van Zandt broke her arm in the opening round.
You could hear it as well.
Yeah.
That was rough.
And in fairness, you could say won round 3 with a broken arm and all.
Yeah, not a lot happened in round 3. I thought the decision was right. I thought Rose Clark, I thought it was a good performance by her. She kind of proved,
just showed you better on the ground.
Yeah, it proved that she's quite well rounded. She'd done well in the first 2 rounds on the feet. She'd done well at range. She'd done well kind of landing the better, more fundamental strikes. Paige, as we kind of said, she's very, very flashy at times. She can land these big kicks. She was going to the well with that.
Yeah, she 20 seconds in and she done the jumping kick twice.
Yeah, and I understand why, because she knocked somebody out with it. But she went to it too much. And Rose Clark just stuck with her fundamentals, stuck to what her brought to the game.
You got to look here, Rose Clark signed on late notice to fight Beck Rounds in UFC Australia. Now fights what was the poster girl for that division as well. She's now 2-0 in the space of 2.5 months in the UFC. So great story. Congratulations to Rose Clark. And like I said, I've seen
new division too.
I've seen somebody was tweeting, showing tweets that are messages that people were sending her about Paige saying, you're only one because of a broken arm, and just fans being assholes. But stunning performance by Jessica Rose again.
Very, very, very good. Again, it was similar in certain ways for me to the Usman performance, where it wasn't overly impressive. It's not going to, people not going to be saying, "Oh my God, she's amazing."
The name is impressive.
The name is impressive. Even though I think
Paige, what's Paige need to do next? She needs to change because she's training in Portland now. She's not under Team Alpha Male.
I don't know.
She's just. I agree with you. She was going to the well way too much with that kick, and trying. Unpredictability is great when you have good fundamentals behind it. You almost set up the madness by doing the basics.
Yeah, exactly.
And Paige just seemed to get away from that and just try. It was She was telegraphing what she was doing.
Well, that's the problem with, I think, modern day UFC, modern day MMA, I suppose, is that these girls and guys, they get to the UFC at such a young age, at such a small number on their record, that they kind of have to build themselves in the UFC. And for me, I think I brought this up a couple of times. I think sometimes when that happens, even though we kind of see them warts and all, if you get me, we see their losses. Like, there's plenty of fighters out there who we've seen enter into MMA and enter into the UFC, and they've had maybe a record of, you know, not a hugely impressive record, but we haven't seen them fights. And once they get to the UFC, we kind of see a matured fighter. With these fighters, we kind of see them come in, and even if they're not thrown to the wolves, they're still developing their game. And Paige Van Zandt is now, what, she's 7-4? 7-4, which isn't that bad of a record in the UFC, but, you know, eventually that's going to catch up, you know.
Your main event was an absolute cracker. Jeremy Stephens taking on Toho Choi. Jeremy Stephens gets his hands raised with a TKO KO in round 2. This first round was the story of the leg kicks, wasn't it? Choi was throwing them for love and money, and landing, and there was great exchanges by both fighters. Jeremy Stephens threw a beautiful elbow coming off the cage. Choi, you got to say you tipped the hat to Choi in the first round and probably giving them the opening round. But what really impressed me, now I know you've seen something different, Rob, so I won't spoil that, but what really impressed me was Stephens. We used to say this a lot when we were breaking down McGregor, Mayweather, saying Mayweather downloads data. Jeremy Stephens really downloaded Choi's data. With the leg kicks, he started timing them, and he was countering them with the big straight. And coming up to the lead and the finish of the fight, Choi landed a really strong leg kick, but as he had landed it, Stephens landed a beautiful right down the pipe that really pushed Choi's head back, and then he landed some stiff jabs after that as well, and you could really see he had him hurt. When he got him down, oh my God, it was like a throwback, as you said. It was like Dan Henderson-esque. The big, heavy right hand coming down, working from the bottom. You had said, I'll allow you to speak about it in a second, you had said you thought at first when you watched it was a bit of an early stoppage. I didn't. When I seen it, I felt Choi, the hands went up, the blinkers were coming on, and he was turning to the side. And I was like, right, if we seen 2 or 3 more shots, nobody would say early stoppage. But that's what was going to happen. Like, Stephens was in a dominant position. Choi wasn't improving his position. That's not doing that and turning to the side is not intelligently defending yourself. You're still susceptible and wide open. You can't see what's coming. Like, I understand there's times where you can cover up, but Choi was that hurt that he just had turned. He was taking the shots, and I thought it was an excellent stoppage by the referee because Stephens was standing above him, raining down, and you were only going to get to see the 2 or 3 shots anyway. But I think, why does Choi have to take them? Like, I thought it was an excellent stoppage by the referee, but you spotted something different on the lead up to the finish.
On the stoppage, I didn't think it was a bad stoppage. What I said was I thought that, not even early, but what I said was that if I was in Choi's corner, or if I was Choi himself, I'd understand why he'd say, give me a little bit more of a chance. That's all I'd say.
See, I just think because he was on his side, and he was on his side, turned into Stephens, and Stephens was just
I agree, but I could understand why he, as himself, as a fighter, would say, I would love a bit more of a chance to get up on my feet, because it looked like maybe he was trying to turn to stand up. Probably not. It looks like, you know, it could have been what you said as well. I've no problem with the stoppage. I thought it was a good stoppage as well. On Jeremy Stephens' performance, it was great. I thought Duho Choi done brilliant in the first round.
He did,
I thought the way he was moving away from Jeremy Stephens' leg kicks and just landing on his own, I thought his jab looked really good. I thought his right straight looked really, really good. That was landing. But in the second round, I thought there was a moment where he threw a front kick and it landed on Jeremy Stephens, and then once it landed, he kind of started chasing down Stephens and went into a little bit of a brawl with him. Which I thought was the worst move he could do, because once he started getting into a brawl with Jeremy started landing well. And once he started landing well, I thought that was kind of game over. Duho Choi started moving to his power hand. He started circling the wrong way. And he was kind of doing that during the fight as well, but he was staying way out of range. This time he wasn't. And
a lot of Stephens' shots were landing, weren't they? Like the stiff jabs. And even all of a sudden went from...
a couple of step-in elbows as
well. One thing I'd say in the first round, I felt Choi's range was brilliant. Like every time Stephens would go to throw the leg kick, he'd pop over, right? The jab, he'd slip and just be out of Stephens' range, where his hand would be falling just short. that went away in the second round, and Stevens found his range, but also Choi lost his distance a
Yeah,
little bit.
speaking about the downloading of data, I loved the way Jeremy Stevens, he saw that Choi was moving to his power hand, but he wasn't really capitalising on it. So what he'd start doing was start jabbing, and once he started jabbing, Choi kind of entered out the back, entered out the side, or exited out the side, and he landed that kind of. Remember Quentin Rampage Jackson? He used to land it all the time. He landed on Vanderlei where he kind of exit out, and he kind of goes with them and throws the really wide hook. That's what he kind of landed on. And then once he landed, it was real old school.
But all of a sudden,
strikes.
Jeremy Stevens
Again,
he's back in.
He's back in there. He's
back. You know, he's like, you look at a two fight win streak, and like the guys he's lost against. Like realistically now, like he can be starting looking top 5 guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden he's in title contention
Yeah.
again. Max is obviously fighting Edgar. So interesting. It must be said that Stevens is saying Ortega would rather sit and wait for a title shot than fight.
Yeah.
That's a little jab. Saying,
Yeah,
let's
of
come
course.
fight. Let's come fight. But excellent performance. But UFC Sunday nights.
Don't do it again, please.
Unless it's a bank holiday.
in Ireland.
In Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't like him. Don't like him.
No.
This sitting on the bus, I was going to watch it on the bus, but my old mate Spud got on the bus with me.
Spud.
And Arsenal were beaten by Bournemouth, so Spud wasn't happy. And big rumours that Alexis Sanchez is coming to United, so Spud really wasn't happy. So I was chatting with Spud this morning just to console him. But not a fan of these Sunday nights. But you know what I'm not a fan of either, Rob?
What?
2 great fight cards on the same night.
Yeah.
Bellator.
Although, you know,
Yeah, well, look.
just because you can't watch them exactly at the same
Well,
time.
no,
possibly.
well, look.
You
well,
can.
You can. I'm going to have the old stream going on the tablet and the UFC on the screen.
Oh, so that's what you're choosing. You're choosing the screen for the UFC.
Screen is the UFC.
Oh, okay.
So UFC Bellator 192 Lima versus McDonald. Oh no, wait, hold on. Jackson versus Sonnen has changed this week. Goes down this week, and it's the opening stanza, if you like, of the open weight heavyweight tournament. It goes down in Inglewood, South Central. Terrible. Headlined by Quentin Rampage Jackson taking on Chael. The bad guy Sonnen, Douglas Lima, Rory McDonald, Michael Chandler against Miocic, and how do I say it again? Kerry Kamen against Henry Morales, and Aaron Pico taking on Shane Crutchin. So let's start there. Where Aaron Pico, Rob, hugely impressive knockout in his last bout. Decorated Olympian wrestler, absolute phenomenon. Are we going to get to see the Aaron Pico show again here against Crutchin, who was a 12-3 against a 1-on-1? So it's crazy, but it's again the background of Pico here. If you were looking at this and you were unaware, like Pico he's tipped by many to be the next big thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when we had Jimmy Smith on the show, he told us about a production meeting that they had before Aaron Pico's debut, which he fought again, another good guy. He actually lost that fight, but he fought another really good, experienced guy. And he told us that the Bellator officials, the Bellator execs, Scott Coker and the like, basically said that this guy is our golden boy, and we're going to throw him straight into some of the best guys we have. Obviously not the main eventers or not the really, really good guys, but you know, we're not going to put him in there against cans. We're not going to put him in there against inexperienced guys. We're going to put him in there against guys we generally think he's going to be competitive with. And again, it's the same here. This guy coming from the WSOF is a really experienced guy. He doesn't have many losses on his career. And he's a good submission artist. That's why I think I might go with Aaron Pico. I haven't seen a lot of this guy, but he's somebody that really likes to take the fight to the ground. And in the highlights I've seen, he has a lot of good chokes. But I do think Aaron Pico has the wrestling to stay on his feet. And if we see a repeat of his last one where his boxing looked really, really crisp, I think we're going to see another highlight as well. It's just really difficult to say with Aaron Pico when he's going against guys who are really experienced. We don't know if he's at that level yet. We just don't. But it's almost the mystique that he plays off, the mystique that Bellator are promoting, that makes you want to say, maybe he is that good. Maybe what we've seen in his last fight is real.
What I liked about Pico is, right, his wrestling background is
insane.
It's just ridiculous. So
and he has a boxing background.
You're there
too.
going, right, so his wrestling background. What's he like? And then you see the power that he comes with, and you go, holy God. Like that knockout was like, that was one of my considerations for knockout of the year. He's only 21. So what has he
He's only
done
21.
from last fight to this camp?
Yeah.
Like, he coming from the pedigree of wrestling as well, like every day in the gym is school time, and this guy is like top of the class.
Yeah.
So what the information that he'll soak up and be able to get in, like, it is terrifying. Krutchkin here, obviously you're saying he's coming from a couple of different, this is his Bellator debut as well, so it's a great opportunity for him coming into Bellator, taking on Aaron Pico. But for me here, you're going to go with Pico. It's just, his explosiveness is just phenomenal. The speed and the power that he possesses is quite scary.
Yeah.
And if he has good fundamentals as the boxing background as well, he is like,
He's-
I like that they're giving him guys. They're not
Yeah.
giving him, like, they're not doing what other promotions are guilty of you know, slow rolling
Yeah.
a guy and giving him lads that are just coming off amateur careers.
But you could also you could understand if they did.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it's credit to
but
Bellator.
I genuinely think that Aaron Pico, despite that first loss, and we
He
do
wants
have
the
to consider that he does want the competition, but we do have to consider that he had that first loss and he was finished, he was hurt, so that can happen again.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think that Aaron Pico is the type of athlete that Brock Lesnar was, who came into the heavyweight division, and this wasn't the heavyweight division when it was absolutely horrendous. It wasn't great. It really wasn't great. But it wasn't back in the dark ages where it was just brawlers and nobody was there. This was a guy who could come in and could compete based on his athleticism and his wrestling. I think Aaron Pico's similar. I'm going to go Aaron Pico. I'm going to just go with a highlight reel finish or something. Crazy first round finish, but knockout.
Your next bout of the evening is your man that you're nailing the name of.
Georgie Karakhanyan.
Yeah, beautiful against Henry Corrales. What do you think of this one up?
I like the fight. It's two guys who are, I believe, are kind of underappreciated. They've been around for a long time, and they're both very, very talented. I like Georgie Karakhanyan. I believe he was a WSOF guy. He was a champion. Yeah. Well, he's beat some really good, like Lance Palmer, good wrestler. Daniel Pineda, former UFC guy, he finished him by knockout, and Pineda has a good chin as well. I like him, and I don't know. It's a weird fight because they're both in, from what I see, at a similar level in terms of experience and in terms of talent, and they're both on decent runs. So it's a hard one to pick, but I just think Georgie is a little bit more experienced and a little bit more well-rounded, so I'm gonna go with him.
That's this as well. They're two, again, you know, when you live, like, let's be honest, it's like the Premier League here in Ireland, or the NFL, if you like. And well, I think the NFL is the only, is it?
What?
Football league in America, is it? They've college football.
Yeah, well,
but
yeah,
they
but
don't have-
but in America,
Regional,
you have like
yeah.
Canadian football.
Yeah, so like,
and the XFL is coming back.
you know, these two are like veterans as well in Bellator and other promotions as well. As you said, Rob, WSOF champion. So, you know, expect to see this to be a fight that you mightn't. My old favourite, you know, if you're a big UFC watcher and you do watch this card, I'd encourage you to watch this. Get a stream, you'll get it. You're going to see two experienced guys here, which will lead to a good fight. But I agree with you, Rob. I think Kargarian will just have too much here.
I think he's just been. I think also he's been in there with some of the better guys. Like, obviously they've both been in there with really good guys. Like, the losses on Corrales' record are no joke. Like, he had 3 in a row, but it was to Daniel Strauss, Manuel Sanchez, and Pitbull. So you can't really throw your nose up against that. And then if you look at the loss on Georgie's career, it was Vichel, Pat Curran, and against Sanchez as well. So they're kind of, they have similar opponents. I think I think it's a really well matched fight. I think that's what you can say. A really well matched fight.
I want to move it on because we're time sensitive here. So Chandler against Miocic, you like this one as well?
I really like this one. This is I like this one a lot.
Rob just licked his lip.
Michael Chandler, I think if you've watched any Bellator, he's one of the big stars in Bellator, one of the homegrown stars, somebody that a lot of people want Bellator to push more and push him into the main event scene. And Yamauchi is so talented on the ground and has a great kickboxing game that it makes this fight really, really interesting, because Chandler likes to strike, but his real strength is in the wrestling. Yamauchi likes to strike, but when it hits the floor, that's when he's really, really dangerous. So what's going to happen here?
Pick your poison.
Exactly.
Michael Chandler.
Pick your poison, Michael Chandler. But also, even though I do like Yamauchi on the feet, Michael Chandler has that knockout power. You've seen in his last knockout was just insane. So he has that kind of power where he can just shut off the lights like that.
Interesting to see as well, though, what he looks like coming off that loss in his last fight.
Yeah, the weird loss where he hurt his, wasn't he hurt his leg and he was bouncing around the ring. Yeah, he wanted that rematch, but I think this is a really excellent fight. I would not be surprised if Yamauchi picked up something. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Chandler tried to mix it up, bring it to the floor, and he got caught in something, because Yamauchi he's genuinely, I feel, one of the better grapplers in MMA. Just the way he uses jiu-jitsu, he can use it really well off his back, and some of his techniques to sweep and to get submissions are just beautiful. And I'm almost leaning towards him, but I'm gonna say Michael Chandler, just because what we've seen in the Eddie Alvarez fights where he can get into a brawl and he can come out on top. I think he can, if he wants to keep on the feet, I think he can keep on the feet. If he wants to take it down, I think he can stay safe on the ground if he's careful and maybe win rounds. So I'm going to go with Michael Chandler by a decision. But man, this is exciting. This is a good one.
This next bout, Rob, for me this is why I think in a way Bellator have made a mistake by putting this card on the same night as the UFC.
Yeah.
I really do. Because I think Douglas Lima against Rory McDonald is one of the best matchups you can make at 170. I really do. Like, I don't think there's many fights that you go, oh my God. So this is why, in a way, I go, why did you just put it on the same night? Like, just stick to your Friday night platform like you normally do. Douglas Lima, Rory McDonald, just how good is a fight? Because I turned around today, I was sitting as I was working. Geez, I sound like I done no work today. And I stuck on a Douglas Lima highlight reel. Yeah. And I'm going, holy shit, like, you forget just how good and insane this guy is. Yeah. Like, he's the type of guy that, like, if you, like what you were saying, if you want to go to the ground, he'll happily go there with you. Yeah. But if you want to stand in a phone box and trade, he will sit in the pocket with you. Yeah, and absolutely break you in that pocket. He is do you know who he reminds me of? I honestly think this fight.
Do you want to say Robbie Lawler?
Could be Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald. I really do. I just think I'd probably you'd give Lima more, if you were like a trump card, more points on the ground, I think, than Robbie Lawler for me. But I honestly think this has the hallmarks of an absolute classic. Yeah, like Rory McDonald looked fantastic in his last outing. But I just think here, Douglas Lima, a lot of people are just thinking that Rory McDonald's going to turn up here and watch. I just encourage you to go back and watch his fights. Look at his finishes of like Saunders or just look at his finishes in his last few fights and what he's done to these guys. Like, he beat the shit out of them, like, and he just stays in the pocket and is technical but wild at the same time. He has a ferocity and a venom in all the shots he throws. Got beautiful strong leg kicks, a beautiful hook, check hook to come in off. He just Douglas Lima is phenomenal. And then Rory McDonald is just an absolute psychopath. But a calm, precise, cool. Looks like he's going to the shop for a pint of milk while he's beating you up. This, for me, this could be the fight of the weekend. This could be fight of the year. That's in a way why I'm really disappointed Bellator.
I genuinely think you could put this up with Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic and say which one's better. And I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I think a good few people would go for the Rory fight against Douglas Lima. I completely agree with you. This could be one of them fights where you're just like, holy shit, similar to the Robbie Lawler. I see the similarities in places, especially when they're in the pocket, they just throw. Douglas Lima is huge. He's huge. I don't know how he makes the weight. Could be very, very interesting. One thing I will point out as well is that we've seen Rory McDonald come back after those couple of losses, and we've seen him have a great performance, but we didn't see him get hit. And I'd be very, very interested to see what happens when he gets hit. I'm not saying that he's shot. I think he looked brilliant in his last fight, and I think he proved that he wasn't shot. But also, when he got hit by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he did look a little bit shook. When he got hit by Robbie Lawler, we've seen what happened. I'm not saying he has a bad chin. He has an unbelievable chin. He went down because his body just couldn't take it anymore. He didn't get knocked out. But I'd be very, very interested to see if this goes into a war, how Rory McDonald stands up to that war. But based on what we've seen and based on Rory McDonald's last performance, I just think he's going to be able to outwork Douglas Lima.
Do you think he's going to go do what he done in the sense of daily?
Similar. I think similar. He's going to fight really technically, but again, Douglas Lima is a guy who can drag that war out of people, and I think if it gets into that war, Douglas Lima has every chance to win this. But I'm going to go with Rory McDonald to keep it technical for the most part and win a decision.
I think it's a fucking phenomenal fight. I really do think
What's your pick?
Fight. Oh.
Quick.
Douglas Lima.
Whoa.
I think Rory's going to... Oh shit! Hold on. Is it a 3-round fight? Bellator only do 3 rounds, don't they? Or is it a 3-round fight?
It should be 5 rounds, no? 5 rounds.
It is. Okay.
You're thinking of
Yeah,
Bama.
Bama.
My joke. Do it.
Yeah, I think Douglas
Okay,
Lima.
Douglas Lima.
Just I think Rory's gonna cover it, but Rory will get dragged into the. I don't know. Oh, it's such a tough fight.
You're going with Douglas Lima.
Douglas Lima, boy, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be in a phenomenal. I want Rory McDonald to win. I'm a huge Rory McDonald fan. Just look at my Twitter bio.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
me interviewing Rory. I love Rory McDonald, but I don't know. I have this vision of Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald, except Robbie Lawler's replaced with Douglas Lima. Main event: Rampage Jackson taking on Chael, the bad guy Sonnen, who has said he's going to knock out Quentin Rampage Jackson.
Don't think so.
What do you see happening though?
It's a weird fight, isn't it? This is a weird one. It's kind of who has looked less impressive, or who has looked more impressive less impressively, if that makes any sense. I feel like looking at Quentin Jackson, I feel like he seems kind of motivated for this. Chael Sonnen, he done okay against Silva. The Ortiz fight was pretty terrible. I thought he looked absolutely awful in that fight. I'm not sure what went down. Jackson, you know,
He tapped.
remember that. Jackson again hasn't really looked great either. They're both not heavyweights. It's a light heavyweight fighting a middleweight at heavyweight.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go with the light heavyweight to win. Just yeah.
See, the thing with I
don't know.
The
It's
thing
a
with
weird
Quentin Rampage Jackson is Rampage. He does have good takedown defense,
Yeah.
but if you get him down, he's like a beetle on his back.
Yeah.
He'll
can't
walk.
get back.
He will cage walk and he'll get up. But like, I honestly see Chael can take him down. If Chael can take him down and get 10 grand for every takedown, by the way. If Chael takes him down, Chael could technically hold him down. I think size is going to be the thing here.
Yeah.
And Jackson, I was looking at the episode thing and I noticed every time Rampage was on, he was wearing a big hoodie.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what Quentin Rampage looks like.
It seems like he's training in them videos, but they're also videos.
He's running around, and as his coach said, when he went for his thyroid, he was told he has an overactive knife and fork.
Yeah.
Look, you'd have to favour Jackson with power.
Power. That's the thing. I just think Chael Sonnen has been hurt.
But
by
my
a lot
thing
of
is
people.
that Jackson, his worst nightmare, his worst fights are
Exactly.
against wrestlers.
It's his worst fight. That's the hard thing,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
his worst fight. So, can Chael take him down?
Yeah.
I think fatigue could be a big thing here.
Yeah.
I really do think fatigue could be. Like, if Chael can get Quentin into the later rounds, Chael could do it. But you've also seen Chael quit when he's...
Yeah.
Chael has quit, so it's
It's
fucking Jackson.
Jackson by a finish. I'm gonna say Jackson by a TKO.
TKO. I agree.
That's it.
I do agree.
There's more fights.
There's more fights. There's a decent knock going on in UFC 220. Francis Ngannou is challenging Stipe Miocic, but we're going to be joined by the B to the D to the R man, Brendan Dorman. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see, and if you're listening on audio, you're about to find out. We're not saying he's the best. We're just saying there's nobody better. Brendan Dorman. Welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, my man.
Thanks for having me back, fellas. Let's do it.
We have a beautiful card this weekend, and we're going to flip things up a little bit because we're on time constraints here. So we're going to start with the main event of the evening. It's for the UFC heavyweight title. We got Stipe Miocic taking on Francis Ngannou. Brendan, I want to pass it to you first. How was this fight won? Go.
I think Stipe has good enough movement, good enough footwork, good enough experience boxing to stay away longer than, say, Alistair did, unless his plan is to be aggressive and implement wrestling early, like kind of, I don't want to say banking on, but maybe hoping to exploit on, well, we don't even know really in Ngannou's cardio, right? Or grappling for that matter. I know what I know, but what I know is not necessarily public information. And then to me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, because I love Stipe for a couple of reasons. I love the blue collar thing. I love the loyalty thing that he's got going on. That, and he's a firefighter. My father is a retired firefighter now, but was a lifelong firefighter. So there's all these reasons to love the guy.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to look at these things as business. I often have to, and I don't see anybody beating Ngannou, honestly. I think it's going to be a matter of time thing. So I don't think it'll be like a first round 10-second in thing. I think it'll be more like a second round thing. I don't see it going into the championship rounds, though. I don't think anyone can survive that guy. He just, some of the stuff I've alluded to seeing that's not necessarily for the public consumption. Let's just say like capoeira kicks, like things that 155ers struggle with, that he's doing effortlessly at 270. He's just the freakiest of freaks. And at some point, we knew this guy was coming. I mean, people kind of thought it might be with Lesnar, but his striking didn't come up enough to kind of scare anyone. And as a wrestler, again, anyone would know that sparred, it's more work to implement your game than someone who's a freak of nature power puncher or power finisher, because it's over. Khabib's got to work for it. Damian Maia's got to work for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a little different when you have, like glancing blow power. You know what I mean? Interesting fight. I think the most I've been excited about a heavyweight fight in 10 years, maybe, about, give or take.
What do you think
So, I got it. Go ahead.
Sorry, wait, like with Stipe, like the power thing is obviously like it's something I'll talk about as well, because a lot of people just see Ngannou as power. He's a lot more than that. Like as you were saying, his movement, the array of strikes he can throw. He's not just a one-trick knockout punch, but like Stipe has fought guys with knockout power, such as Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem, right down to even like Andrei Arlovsky. Fair enough, Arlovsky was he's coming near his time then. Mark Hunt, of course, who was the walk-away specialist. But do any of them even have a little bit of what Ngannou can offer? As in, and I'm not just talking about power.
No, because it's the movement in order to put himself in a position to then use the power. It sounds really He-Man-ish, but he's so agile, and he has such good coaches around him, whether it's Vinny Magalhaes on the ground. He's got a really good wrestling coach whose name evades me at the moment, Dewey Cooper, and then he's got his guy from France who's like his original guy. It's the guy that kind of, I think, found him, for lack of a better way to put it. Dewey's a movement guy. Dewey's not just teaching people, like on pads when cameras are around, he's kind of like a tie pad holder. You don't see him doing much but kind of giving instruction, but behind the scenes, he's teaching people the like intricacies of flicking your hip as your foot is turning onto the ball of your foot, and when to angle out where, and what chains well off of what strike. I mean, he can teach him anything. Dewey, don't forget, was a world-class kickboxer himself. So he really understands the things, not only how to communicate them as a coach, but how to actually do them, which sometimes is important. You can't learn jiu-jitsu from a book. You can learn about it. So this guy's learning from the best. He's exceptionally freaky. So I don't think those guys are comparable, if that answers your question.
In a way as well. So we've got Francis covered how he's going to get the way to victory. But do you see a way that's Stipe? What about experience? Do you think experience could come into it? Maybe he's too soon. Maybe he's the bridesmaid here and not the bride. Potentially, do you think that could come into it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a doofus to say no. I mean, we're talking about Stipe up until this Ngannou. You can't say fad because it's very real. So realization of this super athlete that cuts to 265 with no fat, moves like a tiger or whatever I compare him to. He's just the freakiest of the freaks, and I think if your Stipe, yes, experience comes into play, he's got great power himself. Oh, yeah. Really good footwork. He's agile. He's a phenomenal athlete for a heavyweight, but he's about 240. Significantly smaller frame, and that's where the wrestling and the things that he's probably better at. I mean, unless Ngannou picks up grappling as fast, which who knows, honestly. It's the question mark would certainly be that. Can he survive on the ground? Can he get it back to his feet? But there's also, like, when someone's that strong, unless your wrestling technique is otherworldly, like GSP versus a novice guy. Like he there's a video of him wrestling kind of like a brute from the Pittsburgh Penguins, like a hockey player, and he just wrestled the shit out of him with technique. Guy outweighed him by like 100 pounds. But this is different, I think Ngannou might be that strong, judging by the clinch work with Overeem. And if you saw him in the interview, he's like, when he clinched with me, all I could think was, don't ever show me your power that early. I was like, holy shit. Like, this guy is, I don't know. There's this feeling, man. And it's not rooting, and it's not because he's working with Dewey, because I gave you a ton of reasons that I like Stipe. He can win if he's evasive. And at heavyweight, anyone who gets caught in the chin, we saw this with Kane Jr. won. If you get caught with a big shot, you're going to sleep. I think if he wears him down and wrestles him and, I don't know, just avoids the tornado that is Ngannou, he has a chance. Yeah, of course he does.
One thing you
put
brought
money
up,
on him? No.
One thing you brought up, and it was something that I was thinking about leading up to this fight, was the whole divisional thing. The only reason why both these guys are heavyweight fighters is because somebody set that weight. Somebody told us they're heavyweight fighters. But if you look at these two guys, they're significantly different in frame and different in size. They should probably a different weight class, and the only reason they're not is because we said they're not. That's the only reason. If you look at these guys, and if they were lighter,
I know what you
mean. They would not be the same weight class. They would be could be 2 weight classes apart. The only reason they're both heavyweights is because heavyweight is such a huge mark. And I think that when you put that into context, and when you think of Ngannou being this freak athlete who can move a similar weight than Stipe, I think the only reason why 245, 240, maybe 235 has been the sweet spot for heavyweight is because the guys that were that big just didn't move like Ngannou. But I think possibly we'll see that Francis Ngannou, or guys Francis Ngannou's size, can be the ideal weight for heavyweight. But I don't think it was that in the past because they just didn't have the athleticism that he has.
Well, that's when Brock and Mir, remember Mir put on all the muscle mass to try and keep up with Brock.
And he did worse. He got decimated because Brock's skill level was exponential. But Brock got so good on the ground.
Yeah. But
he handled Mir, a world-class heavyweight black belt. Handled him easily.
It looked at that stage that's how heavyweight fighting in the UFC was going to go. Was going to be all these bulk guys.
And then Alistair, remember Alistair, like right after
Uberim
version. Yeah, terrifying. So there's always been this debate, right? Because Tyson was like 220. You can go back in time to Rocky Marciano being like 180. Yeah. Heavyweights. We could. That's kind of a historical argument, really. When you look at Ngannou, you're like, there might be a cruiserweight division coming because, whether it's 230, like you said, or 225, I've always felt 205 to 265 is absurd. Huge. And people like 205, they're not going to not like 230 or whatever they decide on, 225 or something. But probably 230, I think, makes sense.
I think the thing with this fight is evasion. Can Stipe avoid these shots? And it's something as well, Brendan, when we recapped when he knocked out Overeem, you said the great thing where he put the hand out to drag Overeem into that shovel hook.
There's a lot he did in that little 1 second real-time blip. That's the sign of a computer of a brain working. Just because his English isn't perfect, don't sleep on the guy's like ring IQ.
So you've got 25 minutes for Stipe to avoid that sort of being set into a trap. And the thing I'd say, like, Stipe has one punch power. You do believe that you do see it.
Does.
But the frightening thing is with Ngannou. It looks like Ngannou, if he even catches with a strong jab, that he'd knock you out. So that's why it's interesting. I honestly think you're foolish if you wipe away and say Stipe has no chance here. I think experience and veteran savvy.
Like what we said for the Alistair Overeem fight. If Alistair Overeem won that fight, we probably would have seen something from Ngannou that we haven't seen before, some kind of weakness. And I still think that applies. We haven't seen that much from him, and it's quite possible that he doesn't have a brilliant game off his back. That's quite possible. We just don't know. But I do think your point of he needs to stay away from that power. Stipe needs to stay away from that power, that early power, because he does get caught really early a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Stipe, you're saying gets caught, right?
Yeah. Early.
He has a tendency to, and with this guy, you cannot.
No, that's the big problem.
And he's not only stronger and has more power in his hands because punching power, you can look at like a Tommy Hearns. It doesn't always equate to being muscular or big or anything like that. A lot of times it's just frame. They've done studies on like wrist size. They're all kind of ancillary facts, but he moves so goddamn well. It's everything, and you cannot get clipped by that guy. You're not getting up. Like, he's not going to hit you and then try to do an arm and guillotine. He's just going to keep smashing your face through the canvas, as we've seen. I don't feel like I did with the Overeem fight. Remember my take on that was like poor Overeem.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like that with this one. I think Stipe's got a chance for sure, like an actual legitimate chance. There's something about Ngannou, and I've been the first video I did on him, I'm like, this guy is the future. I mean, before on my last channel, it was one of the last videos I made. I'm like, the future is now, because F ends, his initials. He's a terrifying dude. He might get caught, and then he'll just be back, scarier.
That's the thing. That's the one thing I said when at our end of year show, Rob done a segment where we said, will the champion be the champion this day next year? And if not, who will be? And when we got to the heavyweights, I said, no, Stipe will not be the champion. It'll be Francis Ngannou. I said, but I'm not saying Ngannou will beat him in January. He just will be the champion this time. He will be the champion.
Yeah. So what's your pick?
Francis Ngannou. I'm going to pick Francis here. Just, again, I don't think it's going to be easier than whatever. I'm not saying we're saying it's easy, but I think some minds are saying this is easy. He's just going to knock him out. I think this is going to be his hardest fight. And I honestly think that he is going to be put under pressure here. I can see Ngannou getting hurt here. And funny, I can see the finish coming from a heavy exchange where Ngannou possibly is hurt and he counters and lands on Stipe and puts Stipe out. But I can see Stipe hurting Francis Ngannou or putting the most pressure we've ever seen him in this fight. I think the champion is going to come and fight like a champion and go out on his sword if he has to go out on his sword.
I think that's the great thing about this fight. I think a lot of things can happen. I think we can expect a lot of things to happen. I think an early finish is possible on both sides. I really do. But I just can't get past that freaky Francis Ngannou power that he has in the first round, and the fact that Stipe Miocic gets hit in the first round. I just don't know how physically anyone can recover from that. If Stipe Miocic does get hit from Francis Ngannou and recovers and wins, that guy is an absolute stud. And he is a stud already, but I'm going to have to go with Francis Ngannou. I just can't look past that.
No, we can't. Freakish.
I can't picture the fight playing out and Ngannou getting murked. I just can't. I don't know. I played it, believe me, I have, because I was thinking of breaking it down, but I've just done enough work on both of them already that I'm like kind of But, and plus I can just have you watch this show, right? I just, when I saw him evade Alistair, that was as impressive as the shovel hook. The way that he kind of came in and then reset and framed his elbow to push his shoulder off to load up the shoulder. I mean, that's just so high level as a striker. That's something you see from like Nicky Holtzkin, who weighs 170. He weighs 270. What the fuck is going to happen? You know what I'm saying? I could see Stipe getting deep on a double and him just like shrugging him off. Because Overeem's just as dominant in the clinch, more so than Stipe's ever been with his wrestling. So what's going to be this magical difference? He's not... who's that Russian guy that won for like 20 years straight in the Olympics? That scary Russian wrestler. I can't think of his name. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's not going to be that easy. Plus, you start standing, Who
was it? Somebody said that
I got Ngannou before the championship rounds finishing.
Ngannou before championship. Somebody said a quote, something like, they're going to make it illegal for Francis Ngannou to hit people soon. He hits with that ferocity. I can't remember who it was.
I think we should move on.
Yeah, it's a co-main event. Also, an incredible fight. And again, in a similar way, you've your champion, whose only defeats in mixed martial arts are to John Jones, taking on Volkan Oezdemir, who Volkan, again, a lot of what people are saying, it's the unknown with Volkan Oezdemir. Is he good off his back? Can he take a shot? Can he do that? We don't know, because he's knocking guys out within inside 25 seconds. So Cormier, similar to my has Stipe faced anyone like Oezdemir, is it safe to say that Cormier has a win over Anthony Rumble Johnson, who was probably the most like Oezdemir?
He is the most like, but it's more like Oezdemir is Rumble 2.0. If you've been, I don't want to talk out of school, so I'm going to keep things a little vague, and people that are smart can just put them together. I'm never going to answer their questions. Don't bother. Rumble is notorious in practice for not finding sparring partners, but if he does and they do well, kind of, right? Volkan doesn't, like adjust his gloves every 4 seconds, for instance, right? Volkan was Rumble's one sparring partner he had for those 2 DC fights that was always there willing to stand and trade, but doesn't break. And this is going from his coaches to me directly. We'll see.
Interesting.
Also, Luke Rockhold has been training
what's up with that?
with Oezdemir. Is that right?
From what I hear, Volkan's not worried about Luke.
So vague.
I feel like I've opened like a Sudoku puzzle book or something like.
What I'll say is it is an excellent fight. This is a great fight. I really don't know where to go with it though. Personally, I don't know where to go with it. I genuinely don't. I think we have.
Do you guys think DC's thinking it's a layup?
No.
Or do you think that's
no,
just
no, I don't think he does. I think he thinks it's a really, really difficult fight, and rightly so. I just think we really haven't seen a whole lot from Oezdemir on our end. We just haven't seen, especially in the UFC, he's been just finishing people really, really quickly. We've seen a lot from DC. We know what DC can do, and we've seen what DC can do with guys with big power. Does that apply to this fight? I don't know. DC hasn't won a fight since he got head kicked by John Jones. What's he going to look like? DC has been talking about retirement. How is that going to play?
No, you look as well. Ahead, one thing I'd say is you look at when DC fought Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva hurt DC.
Yeah.
Anthony Rumble Johnson hurt DC.
Yeah.
And John, now, in fairness,
overzealous.
He came back to win the fights, in fairness to him, but then John Jones knocked him out.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you got to worry, you got to think that maybe DC's chin isn't where it was. And Oezdemir had... How Rob says it is great, actually. It's a great comparison. For me, and Rob, obviously, he said it, Oezdemir has this knockout power, almost like Kill Bill, or like you say, it's the Shane Carman power. Where she's stuck in the coffin in Kill Bill and she's doing that?
Yeah.
He can
it's an inch punch.
Yeah. He can
the Bruce Lee punch.
Where am I like this?
Yeah.
It's learning how to create power from here to your hand.
Yeah.
And all it is a matter of relaxation. Like I always tell you guys, when I used to explain like Joanna's jab, the power of it is you have an object right here and you can't pull your arm back, right? So you have to be able to forward.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right? So it's like a trick. I can do it, like I could break a board with that really easily. It's not hard. Just focusing your pressure and learning how to see my hand. Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
You kind of coil it, and then at the last minute is when you kind of flick out. It's a lot more violent than that of emotion, but that's essentially it broken down. Volkan has no time, has no space needed to create torque, to create power. We've seen it twice now. With Misha Serkinov, it was like a little right over, and with those shots in the clinch, which is beautiful against Manoa, the way he snuck that uppercut in that left hook as he pulled him in from one side and then pulled him into the temple on the other. It's just short power that he's generating, and that's that's what they're worried about, right? Because if they see these long, like Rumble throws long punches. So when he knocked him down in their first fight, if you notice right afterwards, he charged at him and threw this right hand straight out of a street fight and missed him. So much so that he fell to the ground, and that's how DC got his momentum back and eventually persevered. I don't see Volkan making that mistake. He seems a lot more cerebral than that to me. I love Rumble, by the way. It sounds like I'm bashing him, and I really don't mean to be at all. I love that guy.
The point that you made of the short punch is an interesting one as well, because if Daniel Cormier is a Greco-Roman wrestler, so he likes getting on the clinch. He doesn't really shoot takedowns from the outside.
I was going to say that's where.
No, it's high C's, high crotch, right? And he'll chain off of that. Sometimes he'll try to scoop up from there.
Yeah.
Or he'll do like crackdowns, which is like if I have someone's left leg coming at me and I get a high C and I crack down my shoulder to that side. Or he'll use the crackdown to then ankle pick, like those kind of chains. But it is more Greco than say folk style or freestyle wrestling. Yeah. And that kind of person, I mean, that's why Jones was so good against him, because that's Jones' background too. But when you got a guy taller than you and you're trying to get upper body, clinches, and someone's got a crazy inside power from said area, like I can see a lot of ways that Volkan can, use his power. He may want distance, which is hard to create against DC. But if you have the right footwork, maybe not so much. DC's a little clunky on his feet. He's very flat-footed. Yeah. So if someone's like being fleet of foot, say, with him, and intelligent with their angles, they may not have to fend off 1,000 takedowns. You know what I mean? A guy like that, he's similar to Ngannou. It's not. I don't think it's quite DEFCON 6 or whatever the fuck they call it, but it's not nuclear power. It's like just one step under. It's both of them just terrifying, put you to sleep out.
What's your pick, Nolly?
I think Father Time could potentially be a factor in this fight. Also with expiry dates of chains. I think the savvy veteran of DC could also come to the forefront here. But I think we could have a new champion here in Volkan Oezdemir.
Well, so 2 new champs.
2 new champions. I just think power, youth, all that is just... I know, but for Volkan it's youth. I just think DC, I don't think he's underestimating, as you were saying. Do you think he could be? I don't think he's underestimating, but as you both alluded to, Daniel Cormier does his best work close up like that, and that's the opening Oezdemir wants and can work from. We've seen his devastating power, but it will be interesting to see if Daniel Cormier can drag Volkan into the deep waters of the latter stages of the fight to see where it goes. But yeah, I think we'll be crowning a new champion. Rob?
Yep, it's a... Yeah, for me, I was gonna pick, I suppose, I was thinking Daniel Cormier, just for the reasons of we haven't really seen Volkan on his back that much. We haven't really seen him in a fight like that in the UFC. But the more that I think of it, and the more that I think of the time that Daniel Cormier has been off, the knockout loss, and just Father Time,
and the fact that the whole... everything that happened with that.
Yeah, it's...
Like, that was an emotional defeat for DC.
Emotional defeat, yeah.
So all that...
Yeah, I'm going Volkan Oezdemir. I'm going Volkan Oezdemir. I think, again, it's one of them ones where I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Cormier pulled off what he's pulled off so many times. I'm not underestimating him at all. I think he's an excellent fighter. I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves, but I'm going with Volkan Oezdemir to land something crazy and maybe catch him when Daniel Cormier is in for a clinch or something. Catch him on something crazy. Maybe like one of those crazy elbows that it was at Travis Brown. Something like that. Something weird like that. But yeah, I'm going to go with Volkan Oezdemir. New champ again.
New champ.
I'm going to chime in. And new. Let's see it. Yeah. 205 needs it.
I think it does.
I'm partially picking with rooting interests.
I think as well that as much as we're saying it needs it, I think it sounds like we're being unkind to Daniel Cormier. I don't think so. I just think...
I love DC.
Yeah,
it's not personal.
I'm a big fan of Daniel Cormier, both in the cage and outside the cage. I love him on commentary. But I just think, DC has spoke retirement, and for the healthiness of the division, I think Volkan Oezdemir would shoot a bolt of lightning of energy into the division.
He's 28 too. Yeah, don't forget.
I definitely.
He's 10 years younger.
Looking down the card, we have Shane Burgos taking on Calvin Carter. Am I saying that? Gatter.
Skip it.
We also have Jean Vellante, obviously Mr. Ray Longo's gym with Matt Serra. Yep. So love hearing them guys in the corner. Taking on Francimir Barroza.
Yeah, of course I'm gonna root for my guys.
Yeah.
And Jean Vellante, it's...
I know John's been a roller coaster ride to root for.
He really has.
But it shows you the power of Dana too. You have a little beef with Dana, and all of a sudden, I know all about it. You do him if he feels like you've done anything a little dirty or out of school. He's buried that guy a ton.
They must be back to good friends now.
It's Vellante, right? I think it's Vellante. Haven't they have like a little public beef? Thought they did.
Well, it wasn't Vellante. He was on the Dana White looking for a fight there not too long ago.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. When was that filmed?
Oh, I'm thinking of I'm thinking of their other guy, not Aljo. There's Weidman, of course.
Aloy Quinton.
Yeah, Al. Crazy Al.
Crazy Al.
I just totally brain farted. Anyway, yeah, he's great.
We'll edit that.
We're not editing that.
But yeah, Vellante, he's got a real mixed bag in results here. He's coming off the decision to Patrick Cummins.
For me, he's one of those guys who feels like he's really a frustrating fighter. He seems to get in fights where you think he's going to win, you think he's going to go in there and apply the game plan that seems to be in place, does okay for a round, and then just neglects it and it turns into a brawl and he loses.
It looked like a good fight for him because like I was a big fan of Mauricio Shogun Hua, but for me I thought he was I thought he was taking on Shogun at the right time. You know what I mean? Coming near the fairy tale end of
Shogun's so ranked.
Shogun is like number 5 or something in the world, isn't he? Yeah. But like, it was a big fight for Vellante and he fell short there. He got knocked out by Mauricio Shogun Hua. So I think this is certainly a must-win for Jean Vellante. We then have Thomas Almeida, which is always, I really enjoy watching Thomas Almeida, is taking on Rob Font. Yeah.
I love this fight.
Rob Font. Yeah, Rob Font's a friend of mine.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so go Rob. He's out of Sadia Tong in Botwell. It's right outside of Boston in Somerville. I've trained with him. Good guy, man. Awesome dude. So I'm rooting for him. Just I can't not root against. You know what I mean?
What sort of
no matter what.
I
love Almeida a lot. I think he's excellent. But Rob Font's my guy. That's my dude.
What style of fighter would you say he is, Brendan? Just for the people listening, if they're unsure of.
Well, both of them. He's got good jiu-jitsu. Yeah. He's got good striking, good shot selection, accuracy, and toughness, man. Yeah. Great work ethic. He's one of those kids at the gym every day early. Yeah. Like, because I have to drive far to get to their gym. So anytime I was out there, he'd be there before me, you know, just warming up, shadow boxing with people, whatever. You know, he's a hard worker. And when you get Della Grate and some of those black belts, my main man, Loco Lobo, works with him. He's a black belt under Daniel Gracie. Obviously, it's Henzo lineage. I got a lot of reasons to root for the kid. I like him a lot.
And again, you look at then Thomas Almeida. Like Thomas Almeida's only losses are to Jimmy Rivera and Cody Garbrandt.
Thomas Almeida's a really good fighter. Really good fighter. I just hope that he doesn't go down the road of Eric Silva. You know, and I know I'm just comparing the two Brazilian guys, but Eric Silva at one point
was... Eric Silva pissed hot, though, bud.
Don't forget that. But Eric Silva was the guy who came into the UFC as the Brazilian hope, the guy that he thought was going to be the big one. And now Thomas Almeida is similar, and he's lost a couple of fights, and that crazy win streak is gone. So I hope he doesn't turn into that guy, but I like this fight a lot. Rob Font, as you said, great fighter, really good on the feet as well. He had a really competitive fight with John Lineker on the feet, which is impressive to say the least. So I like this one.
He hung in there. Lineker's terrifying for that size, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
My famous fight with Almeida, and it was quite weird. We had Brad Pickett on the show, and I was like, Brad, it sounds weird probably saying one of my favourite fights with you was when you fought to Thomas Almeida, because Thomas Almeida knocked Brad Pickett out with a flying knee.
Yeah, I know.
But the first round was probably the best Brad Pickett you've ever seen. Brad Pickett looked phenomenal in the opening round. And I was like, this young pup coming in here thinking he's going to beat Brad Pickett. and that's what it looked like. And then Almeida pulled off the flying knee from the depths of hell.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible fight.
Pre him, Cody, when I used to do pre-fight breakdowns more, I don't really like doing them too much anymore. Pre that fight, everyone in the comment section was so pro Almeida, and Cody has no chance. And I wasn't in a position of knowing too much other than what I see for movement. This is very similar to how I look at Ngannou versus Stipe. It's just how I've been watching this pattern recognition thing for a long time. Obviously, I'm okay at it. People tend to want to hear what I have to say. And it's like that kind of thing where I'm like, Cody's got way better footwork, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Almeida was very boxy hands, a little tighter, throws crazy technique, and then very kind of orthodox. It's like having crazy technique with a jab. Yeah. It's like, okay, but you got to set it up, bud. So, interesting fight. I have rooting interest. I won't lie about that.
Yeah. Funny enough, that's why I picked Garbrandt in that fight as well. I thought Thomas Almeida, especially when he's trying to get out of range, out of the pocket, he leaves himself way open. That's why I'm going to pick Rob Font. I think Rob Font's going to land something on him.
He's got a little, like a thin neck and a kind of like pointy chin. Those are always chinny guys too.
Remember this weekend we just spoke about him, me and you, Duho Choi versus Jeremy Stevens. Something similar. Just catch him on the way out.
I wanted to say, did you watch the main event last night, Brendan?
Yeah, well, I'll replay, but yeah.
What did you think of, we sort of gave our breakdown earlier on the show, but what did you think of the main event?
I thought it was pretty close to what we said, no?
Really was, wasn't it? I used how me and Rob started.
I love when we do that. I love that because we collectively came to that opinion.
Yeah.
We fed off each other to kind of arrive at pretty close to what happened, I'd say.
I still got it wrong. Yeah.
Pick wrong.
But
the pick is the coin flip.
Yeah,
it's the technique that people don't want to hear my picks.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear how I flip coins. They want to hear like technically how to arrive at somewhat of an educated, decision.
What I liked about the fight was, and this is why I want your opinion, Brian, because you're the master of this. What I liked about it was, in some ways, I always think of Jeremy Stephens as just a banger, a brawler, somebody who throws, and we sort of alluded to that he throws really big hooking shots and stuff. But what I really enjoyed about that fight was Choi in the first round was using his distance and his range beautifully. We were saying he gets hit a lot, but then I found with the leg kicks and then with distance that Jeremy Stephens read him slowly and slowly got it, and eventually got to the stage that when Choi landed a leg kick, although it was a strong leg kick, Stephens was in the right range to counter with a long straight right and was landing the shots, and then was stiffening him up with strong jabs as well. So what I really took from that fight was Stephens lost in some way that brawler mentality in my mind. Probably incorrect that I just thought that of him, but for me he made a great read on Choi, and that's how he won the fight. Was he downloaded everything that Choi was showing him, and that's where he got the victory, where he evolved his game mid-fight to get that finish.
Yeah, and I talk about this in breakdowns pretty frequently, where your coaches in between rounds can give you some advice on what I just would call pattern recognition, which is, both of my professions essentially are that. It's pattern recognition. That's it. If you really boil things down, right? So he, as a fighter and as a vet and as what has he got, 40 fights now? Someone that made a read on the fly, and he's probably at a point in his career where he's willing to, where when you're younger, sometimes you're like, I know this works. When I get hit, I stick to what works. And you see people like that kind of, unless they're a unicornish in their confidence, like a Conor or something, they won't make major adjustments on their own. He made that adjustment, it looks like, on his own to throw straighter punches, and it's funny that we spoke to round punching versus straight punching, The adjustment he seemed to make was to straighten up his shots. When you throw leg kicks like that, it's a little reckless, if I'm being honest. And how many times have you guys seen me when I'm on Twitter going, jab, fucking jab more. Great, leg kicks, jab, set it up, jab. Like, you can't just do like, I've learned leg kicks, I'm a new striker. You gotta learn how to get there. And if you're angling right into someone's center of mass, you can expect that right straight right in your mug,
It was similar to what we were saying with Paige Van Zandt. Yes, you can do the spectacular jumping kick, but you need to set it up with basics and fundamentals. You can't just do that, or everyone goes, here's your kick. I'll get out of the way now. You have to set it up. So, but I just thought I was hugely impressed, not just with the victory, but how he got the victory in getting the read on Choi. And I honestly think, me and Rob said it earlier, he's probably one fight away from being in top contention now in the featherweight division.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some interesting fights. I think Ortega's an interesting fight. Yeah. Some people don't seem to like it as much, but I think that's a great fight.
Great fight. It does. He sort of called him out a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's great fights the weekend as well. Obviously, we've Bellator going on as well. We spoke about that briefly as well.
Allegedly.
That's what kidding. I think the fight of the weekend can be Douglas Lima against Rory McDonald. I potentially think that could be fight of the weekend.
Awesome. That'll be on record.
Yeah, it'd be insane. I think it's going to be like Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler. I think it's going to be phenomenal.
I don't.
Okay. Ooh.
I just don't. I think that guy's either going to catch Rory or he's not. And if he doesn't, Rory's going to pick him apart.
Nice.
That guy's insane power. Lima is a savage. Yeah. But Rory is as skilled as they come. We've seen him do it before. He's neutralized extra power. Woodley.
Yeah. I don't want to tell you, but Rob forced me into a Douglas Lima pick.
Yeah.
I was breaking it down and I said, I think Douglas Lima can do it. Yeah, we're running out of time. You're picking Douglas Lima. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
That's funny.
But,
I have to pick Rory. I'm obligated.
Rory too. This fucking idiot. I'm joking. He's gonna win now. He's gonna win now.
It is a stunning weekend of fights, and there's nothing better than talking about the before. I love recapping, but I love getting you breaking down as well, Brendan, and telling us how it's going to happen. Because I love when we get it right. I love when we break it down, as you say, we all come together and we sort of. You can almost tell that.
Bit of a weird breakdown this week on this one, but we're limited on time.
But Brendan, absolute pleasure as always, my man.
As always, somebody come.
Keep up the great work and your fights on Twitter. I enjoyed your fight on Twitter last week.
Anytime, brother. See you on the flip side, guys.
Take care, Brendan Dorman. We're not saying he's the best. We're just saying there's nobody better, Mr. Brendan Dorman. Talked a little different this week. We were time limited there, and we just wanted to make sure that we didn't. Not that they're the lesser fights, but we wanted to get Brendan's opinion on the two biggest fights on the card.
Great show, though.
Excellent. So yeah, let's leave it at that. This has been 98. it's 99 is next, Rob. That's an ice cream and it's red balloons.
Yeah.
And then it's the big one.
The big one. What's
100?
100. Gonna have to get like one of them things, the party things, the whistles and all. Yeah. Have to get a few of those, and we'll have to get a fucking guest.
Yeah. Do you know what I want to sort of try? I can say this now because people start turning off at this stage. But I want to try and get a hit list of our favourite guests over
that we've had on.
Yeah, so
let's try it.
Try and get some. We were going to hold on to it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Anyway, it's strange that not so many have. We've done a great interview during the week with Bruce Buffer.
Yeah.
An absolute cracking interview with Bruce Buffer.
Great
We're delighted that Bruce came on. Just class, isn't he? He was just pure class, Bruce Buffer was. He's just everything you'd think he was, and it's exactly what it was. And an update if you did watch it. I did send him an email with me announcing, and he came back and said, no suggestions. You're an excellent ring announcer. I can't say any more than that for legal requirements. But no, it was an absolute pleasure. Go check out the interview last week with Bruce Buffer, and give a suggestion if there was guests that you really enjoyed over the first 98 now episodes of obviously Fight Talk that you'd like to try get on or get us back on with. We will try get back on to it, guests.
And something we need to do more because we don't do it very often, and most likely everyone has turned off at this point, so if there's anyone still here, you really like us, so you might do it for us.
Thanks, Randy.
So subscribe if you haven't, give it a like, but also give it a share around because without like being like or whatever, we're kind of, it's me and Noel, like we just kind of do this ourselves, and to get the push out there, we do need people who watch the show to give it a push, give it a share. If you're on any kind of, if you're listening on audio, so iTunes and stuff, give it a review. It actually really helps. Surprisingly, reviewing really helps. It's weird. So if you give it a 5-star review, or a 10-star review if that's possible, that'd be excellent. But share it around.
Get your phone, get your Matt's phone, get your younger brother's phone.
Create new accounts.
And go and create loads of accounts and leave reviews for obviously Fight Talk on iTunes. But it's an incredible weekend of fights. Before I thank Rob for being with me, I want to thank Fight Store Ireland, the fighter's choice. Everything you need under two roofs. Also MMAmix.com. They're obviously good. They're wit. Obviously, Fight Talk. You swear we'd record this at some stage, so I don't have to say this
do it
every
eventually.
week.
Yeah.
Did I not say?
Maybe
Feel Supreme.
Maybe for 100.
.co.uk. Go and check them out for all your CBD oils and your recoveries. They're great stuff. They've got Barnett. They've got Garnett. They've got Philpott. They've got another Barnett. They've got... Who else is with them?
Obviously, Fight Talk. Kind of.
Obviously, Fight... Yeah, but don't use their codes. Use our code. Fight Talk at the checkout. Get you 10% off.
It's probably shorter than a lot of people's codes.
But this has been 98. It's an incredible week of fights. I can't wait to delve into them and binge and have the missus give out to me going, is that Alice on the TV? It's fighting. She doesn't talk like that. She's a lovely lady. But this has been 98. We'll see you in 99. Red balloons. And peace.